So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dar here from Z4 Games, bringing you again one of the possible top contenders for this upcoming format, and that is Dinos. Now, not only did Dinos not lose a lot on the ban list apart from Prankatops to 1, which is easily searchable, they also got back Lithosagon, which means the deck can now do VFD Turbo if it wants to, and is very, very powerful. So I will also show you a 2-card combo towards the end of the profile to show you exactly what you can do and where you can go. So, without further ado, let's show you what the profile has. So I've tried to make this budget, and what I mean by budget is I've taken out extravagances, but if you want to, you can put them in. I'll show you different engines you can mess around with and add into the deck depending on how you want to play the deck. So of course we play triple Soul Eating Oviraptor, most important card of the deck, or the normal summon of the deck. Searches you out any dino or sends any dino. So of course that's very, very nice to be able to send and then technically search out your peel, or add a Miscellaneousaurus to set up protection, or search out your Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to push for game. We then play triple Miscellaneousaurus. Obviously this was returned to us on the last ban list, I believe, to 3. And this is a really, really cool card. Discard it, give your dinos protections during the main phase, and then you can banish it from the graveyard and as many dinos to special summon that many levels from your deck. So very, very cool way of getting into Trish. And again, Trish is part of the 2-card combo towards the end that I will show you. Coming back into the deck at 3 is now Baby Ceratosaurus. Now, putting this straight back into 3, some people are playing at 2 already anyway, but putting this back at 3 is very, very interesting, purely because it can be a bit of a brick once you've got past it. The idea of this deck is to either stun or OTK your opponent. Stun, then OTK the next turn, or just outright OTK your opponent. So there's a couple of bits you can change depending on which route you want to go more consistently on, and I'll show you those when we get to them. But Baby Ceratosaurus is now massively important in the deck. We then play double Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and the 1 Overtex. Now, in previous builds I have played 2 Overtex, and if you do play the Shaddoll version, I would probably argue that you would again still play 2 Overtex, purely because Overtex gives you a defensive play for your pill, and if you open it, you've got no way of getting it to the graveyard to then search out another pill, so it can be a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with. The fact we're playing more dinos does mean that Miscellaneousaurus is a little bit more alive, which means you can get 5 banished dinos quite easily. But using the Shaddoll engine, you can send this from deck and like Dragon or Beast from deck to get a draw on a back row pop, and then this will search you out a pill. So your board ends on a Winder, and then you're going into a UTC as well. So it depends on which route you want to go with. Then of course we've got the 1 Giant Rex, the 1 Dinosaur Prankatops, and the 1 Drac-Alio. Of course, these are all set up to go into your Trish plays. This is the biggest brick of the deck. It's a pain in the ass to deal with if you open it, and you see it way too much than you should do. Like, I'm pretty sure if I looked back at my previous games playing Dinos, I've seen Drac-Alio more times than I've seen 1 copy of my Oviraptor. So it's just like, what? And then we've got the 1 Petite Peridon and the 1 Megalo Smasher X. Now, Megalo Smasher is purely in here because of the Water True King Barastos. It just gives you that target that you can search out at any time with either your Oviraptor or, of course, your Fossil Dig to then set up your baby play. So Barastos will then pop the Megalo Smasher and the baby. The baby will then trigger its effect to go off and do a little bit more as well, and can help you extend the board, and then hopefully push you into a VFD. Speaking of which, we play double True King Barastos, the single brand new, or welcome back, Lithosagon. Now, Lithosagon is insane in this deck. You pop 2 of your baby dinosaurs. Not only do you rip 3 cards from your opponent's extra deck, see what they're playing, but you also then get to summon 2 dinos from your deck, being an Oviraptor sometimes, Miscellaneousaurus, Drac-Alio, or of course your Giant Rex. So it's all very, very powerful, very, very consistent. That gets you into your rank 4 plays, or of course your level 9 Trish plays. Then to finish it off, we do play 2 True King Agamazud. Now, this, of course, can be triggered off of Miscellaneous. Again, incredibly searchable. And 9 times out of 10, all you got to do is have a dino of the correct attribute, and then the other attribute that you're popping is always going to be the baby. That's what you want to do to get the effects to go off, whether it be your Petite Peridon or your Baby Ceratosaurus. Now, if you want to play a bigger engine, you would add one more Agamzood and one more Barastos. But I've cut the engine down purely because I am main decking, spoiler, Super Poly, and I'll explain why I'm main decking Super Poly when we get to it. Then for a hand trap, we do play triple Ash Blossom. If you don't want to play hand traps and you want to go more focused on your combo plays, this can be taken out for extravagance if you have them. If you don't have extravagance, you have other draw powers. You can play Avarice now that it is back, but it's very rare that there's going to be 5 Dinos in your graveyard that you're not going to want to, at some point, either banish for Miscellaneous to special summon from the deck, banish Miscellaneous to bring out a Dracalio, or, of course, be able to Monster Reborn them back onto the board. So, for a one-off draw spell, it can be a bit risky, but if you have got it because you had one before while it was banned, then you can put it in with stuff like Upstart as well if you want to. This is a 42-card deck, so you can just cut these outright and put in an Upstart if you wish. Triple Fossil Dig searches every dino in your deck that you actually need. Like, you don't need to worry about searching for Pranktops because Overactor is going to be doing that. 9 out of 10, you're using this to search out your Overactor, your baby, or of course your Miscellaneous Saurus. And then we've got Triple Super Poly. Now, this Super Poly can be the Shadow engine, it can be Extravagance, or it can be kind of pretty much any type of engine that you want to play with. It can be 3 more hand traps, your Drolls, your Veilers, your Ogres if you want to. The reason I've main Super Poly is it's just too powerful. Like, if I go first and my board, all I need is 2 cards to get my board going. If my board could be like an IP Masquerena, a True King of All Calamities, plus the ability of Super Poly, or the ability to have like a Ragnar Zero or something else to disrupt my opponent a little bit further. If my opponent is able to build like a wall, I can break that wall down with Super Poly and kill it next turn anyway. I mean, I'm not going to be doing that with UTC. This just gives me ability that if I lose a dice roll, I try to make my decks have versatility. So if I lose a dice roll, it's not the end of the world. I still have cards in there that can break and disrupt my opponent's board. Like, I don't want to build my deck to only go first, lose a dice roll and be like, bro, all I've got to do, I need to get to my UTC and do old style plays, where then 80% of my deck becomes bricks. So Super Poly is one of them ones where you could like main deck Nibiru. If you wanted to focus going second, that's the easiest route with Dinos, is you focus on going second, which means you play more hand traps, you play more board breakers like Super Poly, and then you take out like the VFD engine and you take out the Shadow engine. There's no reason of playing those two. Then when you feel that your opponent's going to make you go first, that's where the VFD engine and the Shadow engine comes into it. But it's up to you whether you main it or side it or however you play it. I just think the Super Poly is great going first and second. So if I was to go second and I brick but I have a Super Poly, I can Super Poly my opponent and disrupt them. If I go second and I open up a Super Poly, I can break my opponent's board 9 times out of 10. Then of course we've got Triple Call by the Grave. Now the deck has its own built-in protection with Miscellaneous Saurus, so it's very rare that you don't worry about ditching it because you want to ditch it and give it its effect. But should your opponent want to be playing stuff like DD Crows or anything that can disrupt you a little bit further than Ash, Call by the Grave is very, very important. Then for the field spells, double Lost World and a Terraforming, alongside a single set rotation and a single Dragonic Diagram. Diagram is obviously at 1, so it's set rotation. Lost World you could play at 3 arguably, but what I like about Lost World, and I still haven't got rid of this tech, is I love the fact of how it interacts with Ragnar Zero, and I do put Ragnar Zero in my extra deck, just because I love the fact that it's just like, okay, if my opponent doesn't expect it or doesn't know what Ragnar Zero does, the second they special summon, you go, cool, Ragnar Zero detach, pop it, draw 1 card, and you're always going to plus off of that. And then you can do it during your turn as well, so it's very, very cool. And then for the final one-offs, you've got the 1 double Evo Peel, the 1 Monster Reborn, and the 1 Foolish Burial. Now, Foolish Burial can pretty much put everything you need in the graveyard. Should you need to, if you were to pop your Lithosagam can actually revive a True King. So, later game is great. If not, on an earlier game, you can also Foolish Burial 1 to bring it back should you need like Agamazoo or anything like that. 9 out of 10, you're going to be sending your Overtext to get you your Pill or your Miscellaneous Source to extend your plays. And then double Evo Pill, you rely less on it now, so you don't need to play 3. 1 does the job because it's easily searchable. If you open it up, bonus. And that is the main thing you want to stop your opponent ashing, because if they ash your Pill, you've kind of negged a lot, because you've already you would have banished the Dino, banished a like non-Dino, and then not gained anything. So you do want to be quite careful with the way you do that one as well. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, because we are playing VFD True King Turbo, you do play double True King of All Calamities. This card is insane, very, very powerful. Shuts your opponent down. 2, you might not need 2, to be honest. It's rare you'll go into 2, but you do have the materials to make 2. So once you've made 1, you should be winning the game from there, because you'll stun your opponent out completely on their turn. The only thing that they can draw to stop this will be an imperm. And then if you've got stuff like UTC, and you've got stuff that can actually like pop your own VFD, stuff like that, to get it off the board so it can't be targeted, it can really stun your opponent. And then you don't need VFD to finish the game off next turn, because 9 times out of 10 you might get rid of it for a link monster like Pentastag or something. So yeah, you don't need to rely on it heavily. You just make it, stun your opponent, off you go. Now if you play Shadow Engine, these can come out for Winder and Construct. Otherwise, keep it as it is. I'll go in reverse order. So for our Super Poly targets, we've got the 1 Mud Dragon and the 1 Starving Venom. These are just the most consistent targets right now. I mean, on the sense that Orcus might have taken a step back, Super Poly might not be as great with the double this, but you still have Dark Magician players running around, Spiral players running around, which is good to disrupt them with a Super Poly as they build up their combo, because they feel that they're like immune. They won't play around it too much, and there will be a point where they'll leave 2 dark monsters on the board, and that's where you go Super Poly, boom, gone. Then of course for the Synchros, we do play the 1 Trish. You only have the materials to make this once, so you only need to play 1. I'll show you part of the combo. So the combo is basically you'll rip 3 from your opponent's extra deck, you'll rip 1 from your opponent's hand, and you'll put them under a VFD. Not to mention you could actually put them under a VFD plus a Unicorn or IP Masquerena, and then IP will go into Unicorn to then bounce 1 back, or a Phoenix to then pop 1. So you've got a lot of disruption to go your way that way. Then onto the XYZs, we've got the 1 Dolka, the 1 Lagia, the 1 Ragnar Zero, and the 1 Abyss Dweller. Now, obviously, Ragnar Zero is just my little touch that I constantly keep liking to put into this deck. It's not a necessity. You can take it out should you wish. I just really like it. Dolka and Lagia is pretty much once you've if you've Lithosagumed your opponent, you'll know which one to make more consistently. And Abyss Dweller is just that blanket stop on all graveyard effects, so it can be very good against Spirals, which, like I've said before, is probably the most important deck of the upcoming format, in my opinion. Then we've got the 1 Repidocus, the 1 Pentastag, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and then of course you've got, not the Unicorn, Phoenix, the 1 your Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Appaloosa. Now your Appaloosa could be any link for you wish. It could be your Borosword, your Boroload, or of course, top of the list, Bania if you're feeling a little bit spicy. Obviously your Mech Knight Avram as well. So the reason of this one is that you would go IP into it. So if you've got an additional monster on board, rather than going into a Unicorn, you could go into IP. Very rare that you'll actually need to, because the chances are you're not going to spam your board massively. Your Link 4 is only going to be used, or your Link 4 and your Link 3 are only going to be used coming off of IP during your opponent's turn once the monsters on the board have done their job. So it's not a necessity to have to do this, but it is something that can kind of catch your opponent off guard, make them extend a little bit further than they need to, and then just basically rip their board apart or stop them negating, bounce everything back, whatever you need it to be. If you want to push for an OTK play and make it indestructible, then of course that's where your Borosword comes into it as well. Now I'm going to quickly try and show you the 2-card combo. Now a 2-card combo, depending on the way you look at it, can be quite consistent. So what you're going to be rolling with, or what you need, is you do need your 1 Dragonic Diagram, I know it sucks, and a 1 Baby Ceresaurus. Now obviously Baby can be searched with Fossil Dig, and then your Diagram can be set with set rotation, or of course it can be set with Terraforming, or searched out with Terraforming. So you'd activate your Diagram. I'm working on a much smaller board today, so I do apologise. I'll try and zoom it out as best as I possibly can. So you play Diagram, Diagram's effect will then pop the Baby Ceresaurus. Baby will then go off, triggering, so you want to search out your 1 Lithosagum, excellent, and you'll want to special summon out your 1 Oviraptor. Where are we? Just trying to find Lithosagum, there we go. So you'd have your Lithosagum in your hand, you'd have your Oviraptor on your board, your Oviraptor's effect will then go off and search you out a Baby Ceresaurus. Now this is a combo of the old, so this is why Lithosagum got banned, because it was stupid. Your normal summon your Baby Ceresaurus, Oviraptor target Baby Ceresaurus, and then the one in the graveyard, pop this one, revive this one. The one that's just been popped again will special summon 1 from your deck, be a Beautiful, which will of course be your 3rd. If you've opened it up, then it will be your Petite Periodon. And then you could make a rank 2 if you want to. No, we're not going to make a rank 2. You're then going to use Lithosagam's effect to pop both of these babies. Beautiful. Summon down Lithosagam. Lithosagam is going to rip 3 for your opponent's extra deck because they were both Earth. And then your babies are going to go off as well. Now your babies can be pretty much anything you want it to be. If you want to go straight for VFD, then you would go into your Miscellaneousaurus and of course your YUGIOH. Now I'm just trying to figure out where the adaptation comes on this one. There we go. So it'd be those two. So you go Miscellaneousaurus and your YUGIOH. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sink the YUGIOH, your Oviraptor, and your Miscellaneous into your Trishula. Now, if you have any other form of extension, and then Trisha will rip one from your deck. If you have any other form of extension, what you can do is you can leave your YUGIOH in the deck. You do need an additional monster, so you've got like Monster Reborn or something else. What you can then do is, before you go into the Trish point, is you use 2 of your Dinos, make sure it's Miscellaneousaurus, go into IP Masquerena just to unlock 2 more zones. Then you'd banish the Miscellaneousaurus from the graveyard, summon out the YUGIOH from your deck, and then use, which should have 2 remaining level 4s on board to go into your Trisha. So it does require more extension, but it just gives you that IP Masquerena. This is more than enough because all you're going to do is you're going to overlay those 2 into your VFD. After you've ripped one from your opponent's hand and stunned them, you put your VFD in defense mode. VFD is going to shut them down during their turn. And then, of course, you have plenty of dinos in the graveyard, so you can use your Miscellaneousaurus effect to special summon out whatever you want. Now, we are sitting on 6, so just one shy of a Prankatops, but it does give you a lot of play to go around for your next turn as well. I think there might be a way to extend to get another dino in the graveyard to summon out. So I think that might be where that comes into. But that's just a quick one into VFD, 2 cards. VFD will shut your opponent down. You'll still have 3 more cards to play with, so whether they're Hat and Traps, whether they're Super Polys, or whether they're ways of extending your board a little bit further. This is just a quick combo. I will do more combos and test hands in the upcoming days, just to kind of show off the deck at its full glory. But for now, I hope this helped. I hope this gave you a quick basic understanding of the deck, what the deck does, the other options that you can play, stuff like Shadows if you want to put more money into it. You've got your Extravagance, your Avarice if you want to, but like I showed you, you want to be banishing quite a lot from your extra deck. So it really does come down to the type of plays you want to make and the type of board you want to do. I mean, Connor took it, like I said, Connor took this to our regional. It was under the old format, but he took this to our regional and he got second with it. So he did very, very well. He was playing the Shadow version. And I think that this is a very, very safe investment right now because they've already had their hits. We've already had our ban list. The deck is very, very powerful. Lithosagam has come back. And I can't wait to see what this does in the upcoming format. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And as always, guys, happy dueling.